Welcome to Inside the Crease, the podcast from PowerHockey Canada, dedicated to the power hockey community, showcasing the sport, the players, the coaches, and the unique and inspiring stories of life with a disability that break down barriers. Now, please welcome your host, Matt Vocino.
All right, welcome everybody to this edition of Inside the Crease. I'm your host, Matt Vocino, and today I'm joined by longtime power hockey player, Kirk Ashman. How you doing today, Kirk?
I'm very good, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing well. Not enjoying cold weather today, but it's sunny out, so I'll take it.
Yeah, the sun is a bit deceiving, though.
It's true. The wind gets you still. But
yeah.
Anyways, Kirk, so you've been playing power hockey for over 2 decades. Can you tell me how you first got involved in the sport?
I got involved in this sport when I was 14. I was kind of puttering around in my high school gym, and two guys that I consider mentors of mine saw me just shooting around. They're like, with your strength, you need to be playing electric wheelchair hockey. That's what it's called at the time. And I'm like, I don't have a chair. So how can I play? Like, don't worry, we'll figure it out for you. And you just come and try out. And I'm like, okay, I'll come. So I went on a Friday night to the place, Blurview at the time, and I tried it out, and I fell in love after I got hit smack in the face with a rocket shot. I was like, yeah, I can do this. This is exactly what I want.
Do you remember the play of what happened? Like,
yeah, I was because I wasn't, apt to driving a power chair at the time. I was playing defense, so I would just go back and forth in front of the crease.
Yeah.
And longtime player Mike Laval was coming down, and he just wired one right at me. And I was just like, yeah, all right.
You liked it.
Sold.
It energized you, hey?
It did.
That's awesome. So up until that point, had you participated in any parasports, or what was your experience like?
Well, I was playing like house league hockey in my elementary school for a while, and my high school also had a wheelchair hockey team. So
okay.
It was a mixture of people in manuals and in power chairs. So I was playing that. That was my extent of hockey at that time, is tournaments that we play in. So you had some experience, but
yeah, not quite power hockey.
Not quite power hockey, but my high school ended up winning a championship one year, so I was on that team. So that awesome. Was fun. Yeah.
So clearly, it sounds like hockey's been a big passion of yours your entire life.
Yeah, hockey has been at the forefront of my life since I was a little kid. I mean, I remember my earliest memories of hockey were Saturday nights, hockey night in Canada, watching with my mom, watching the Leafs play, and then because it was Saturday night, I got to stay up a little bit later, so I'd watch the West Coast game, and it was usually the Calgary Flames. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up really loving that, and I ended up loving the Calgary Flames too. So they're like my secondary team next to the Maple Leafs. And so I just started playing around in elementary school, house league, winning championships in the house leagues there, and went to high school, won a championship in high school, and then got introduced to this while I was just shooting around in the gym.
Yeah, so you mentioned, obviously, you were playing hockey with your high school, and sort of a different style of game, different setting than power hockey. So when you first got introduced to power hockey, what was sort of the biggest transition for you between the two styles of game?
Well, for me, it was driving a power chair, because at that time I was in a manual. Okay. And I didn't have a power chair of my own.
Okay.
So once I got used to which hand I was going to drive with and which hand I was going to shoot with, it was just a matter of, getting to blur view a bit early and just getting into the chair, getting the feel for the chair and driving and getting used to driving a power chair.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a big change. A lot faster too.
Yep.
Now, obviously, you've been, like we said earlier, you've been playing for over 2 decades. What about
26 years?
26 years. So, what about the game has kept you coming back all these years later?
Well, for me, it's the fact that I can even play the sport, because other parasports like wheelchair basketball, sledge hockey, you have to have some sort of a good range of motion and dexterity, which I have in one hand, but not the other, right? My left hand is my stronger side. So if I was playing something like sledge hockey, I'd just be going around in circles all the time, and that wouldn't be too fun. And wheelchair basketball, because like again, my left side is the stronger side. Using that all the time, I end up getting tired a lot faster. So the fact that the power chair kind of equalizes things, that's a good part of it. The fact that I'm on the floor with people with varying disabilities all playing to their strengths, and the fact that it's there's no gender barrier.
I think you bring up a unique point. Like, it's something that I've discussed with other people as well. But what's so special about power hockey is that anybody can play. It doesn't matter your level of disability, your capabilities, your upper body strength, per se, which is usually needed for sports that you mentioned, like sledge hockey and wheelchair basketball. You don't need that elite ability to play power hockey. I think it's a really good equalizer.
Yes, it is. And it's not like, for me, like I said, it's not like, people that have muscular dystrophy are not important players to their team. Everybody has a role to play, and everybody is important to the team regardless of your strength. I mean, you know from playing for a while, like if one of your teammates are missing, you're just like, oh crap, you're starting to panic, right? It's just like,
totally.
That person, we need them. It's just like,
no, you're right. Everybody on the team has a role. It doesn't matter their ability.
Right. So if one piece of that team is missing, it's just like, okay, what are we going to do to fill that hole?
Absolutely. Now, just touching on something, like, obviously, it sounds like you love playing the game because being able to play it regardless of your disability and whatnot, and if you've had more or less challenges over the years. But do you find that you love still playing because you just have that competitive fire? Do you like the camaraderie? Like, what else makes you want to show up weekly, put on your jersey, and get to work?
I'm really fiercely competitive, and I just love to play. I love to win.
Yeah, we all do.
I love to win. Like, I love the adrenaline rush from playing, getting slightly bumped, all of that stuff, right? Just getting that energy out, being around people that enjoy the sport. I've forged a lot of friendships throughout the years. All of that keeps me coming. Tournaments keep me coming back. The drive to play well so that I can make a tournament team also keeps me coming back, because I love playing in tournaments at the end of the season.
It's that competitive fire.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. I think I try to be the same way, but I hope I can have a long career like you.
Well, you probably will. You're a smart mind. Remember, I was your coach from way back when.
I was gonna say, thank you for bringing that up. Like you said, you were coaching me about 15 years ago. Why? What got you involved in coaching? I know. Sorry, I'm not trying to make. I'm not trying to make us both feel old, but it's true. It's been 15 years.
Wow.
So, what?
Years, eh?
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. It feels like yesterday.
It does.
What made you want to get involved in coaching?
The challenge. Being on the bench for the first time and actually like having to teach young minds how to play this game, and that was a real thrill for me, especially watching players graduate to the upper league, the senior league, and excelling there. And I'm like, I had a hand in that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun. It was one of the more fulfilling parts of my career, to be honest with you.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I think you're right. There's nothing quite like giving back and seeing someone that you've helped mentor blossom. Obviously, you have a lot of years left playing, but can you see yourself taking on a full-time coaching capacity in the future?
If there's space for me, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I enjoyed coaching and shaping minds into this game and getting them into the mindset of playing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I still do it today. If there's a young guy on my team, I take them under my wing and I'm like, okay, you know what, this is how you do this, and this is how you carry yourself, and because I had mentors when I was growing up through the sport, so it's great to give back.
I'm glad you brought up the idea of mentorship. I think it's extremely important to develop athletes and just develop the game, no matter whatever sport it is. So, as a mentor, obviously, what sort of piece of advice do you like to pass on to younger athletes that you take under your wing?
Well, the situation, there's some players, because of their strength abilities, they don't believe that they can contribute, and I'm like, look, man. You can contribute, like, if you just, block, you screens. There are things for you to do. Don't get discouraged because there's some guy ripping the ball from half court.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get in his way and slow him up, he's not taking that shot. And that's just as important as scoring a goal.
No, I think that's true. Like, you can contribute in a variety of ways. It's not just putting the ball in the net.
No. A lot of the things that players do on the power hockey floor don't show up on the stat sheet. Like, a guy just setting a slight pick for one of the stronger players to get the ball to the net. That doesn't show up on the stat sheet. But if that pick wasn't there, that guy's not getting to the net.
It's funny. I like that you brought up the idea of picks, because I remember when I first started playing power hockey all those years ago, you always told me, you're like, Matt, you're not going to necessarily be a goal scorer, but I know you can be a great defensive forward and a defensive player. And
Yep.
You told me, you're like, you need to meet Megan Hines. She's an elite defensive player, elite at setting the picks, and you got to model your game after hers. And I still remember us. Well, when I would be on the bench, you were coaching, you sort of telling me about picks and when I should jump up in the play to create space for offensive players.
And you felt important, and that's what I tried to do, is make every player feel important too. Like, just because you're not the one putting the ball in the net doesn't mean I don't need you on my team. I tried to encourage everyone to play on my team. And as I told you when you were younger, all those years ago, you may not win a championship with me,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I'm going to make you the best player that I can make you, right? So that you can win championships in the future.
For sure. And it paid off. I think a few years after you coached me, I did end up winning a championship. So you definitely know what you're talking about as a mentor and as a coach.
Yeah.
Shifting gears a little bit, Kirk, I think one sort of theme that we've kind of touched on a little bit is just sort of the inclusive nature of power hockey and Power Hockey Canada. Can you talk a little bit about the environment of Power Hockey Canada and how the organization really tries to make sure that there's a place for everybody?
Well, like I said, regardless of your strength, regardless of your, the ability that you think you have, because power hockey finds a way to unlock other abilities that you didn't think you had too. You can play this sport, and you don't have to be a male. female, however you identify, if you want to play this sport, you can play this sport. There's no gender barriers. There's no bias on sexual orientation. If you love the sport and you want to play, we'll find a way to make it happen for you.
From past experiences, would you say that inclusive nature is something that is maybe more important or pronounced in power hockey compared to other sports or activities you've been involved in?
Oh, absolutely. Again, going back to, because I did play wheelchair basketball at some point in my life. But again, like, if you didn't have a certain amount of upper body strength, you weren't really playing. And you're just sitting on the sidelines being a cheerleader. But with power hockey, you don't even have to hold your stick. It'll be attached to your chair, and you can contribute that way. So just to be able to see everybody from all walks of life playing the sport, that's the best part of it.
For sure. And I think one area too is that just from my experience playing, especially now that I've been in the senior league the last few years, is there's a bunch of people that are like as young as 15 to as old as 65. The sport really doesn't discriminate against anything.
No.
Gender, religion, race, sexual orientation.
Like I said, if you want to play, you can play. And, Power Hockey Canada and Power Hockey Toronto are going to really ramp up the efforts to try to get as many people from all walks of life to play this amazing sport.
For sure. Now, obviously, I think it's pretty clear from what we've always said is we think Power Hockey Canada is inclusive, but do you think there's any way that we can make the game more inclusive and how we can do that?
Well, I feel like we just got to get boots on the ground and really expose this game to different areas, and communities, because power hockey is still one of those hidden gems in the sports world, especially in North America. Like, it's still, when I tell people I play power hockey, they're like, what's that? I mean, even last week I was in a therapy session and I was talking to my therapist about playing power hockey. And coincidentally enough, she was a hockey player as well. So we started talking. And she's like, what's power hockey? And I introduced it to her and she's like, wow, this is amazing. I want to come check it out. See, so a lot of people still don't know a lot about it. So I think, hopefully, we're going to put some more wheels on the ground, if you want to use, that term, but, get the word out and, show people that may not know, that want to play a sport, that this sport is out there for you. In Toronto, I think hockey, no matter what walk of life you are from, that it's out there. That it's there. It's in your face, right? But I would love to see power hockey get in the faces of people the same way and be like, hey, you want to volunteer? Come down here. You want to help fundraise? You can come here. You want to play? This is a place that you can play. Like my dream one day is not only the Olympics, but I wouldn't mind seeing some people make some cash playing this game too. So if there's any rich benefactors listening and want to be dropping some cash and know some other rich people that want to be dropping some cash, drop it in Power Hockey Toronto and Power Hockey Canada's lap, so that the players can get some too.
No, it's true. I think people don't realize how elite the athletes are that play power hockey, and not only do they deserve to be seen on the Paralympic stage, but they deserve to get a little bit of cash.
It's a brother and sisterhood, this sport, and like I said, it's super inclusive, and the more people that play, the bigger it's gonna get, and the sky's the limit. Like, even though power hockey has been around for years in North America, it's still in its infancy, to believe it or not, and there's still a ways for it to go and grow.
Absolutely. Shifting gears a little bit, Kirk. Obviously, we here inside the Crease, we like to talk about power hockey and power hockey Canada, but we also like to know a little bit about the person. So I've known you for years, and I know you're a big food guy. You like to cook. So yep. What's some tasty treats that you've been cooking up recently, and what should we try?
So I'm a big rib guy. I make my own ribs.
Ooh, delicious.
Yeah, I love making ribs. That's like my specialty. Each one is different every time I make it, so I couldn't give you an exact recipe of my sauces and stuff. It's whatever I have in my fridge.
Yeah. So
I do that. And due to this global pandemic now, I've been doing a little bit of, I would say, easy baking, because I've been getting these like bread mixes and different things that I've been doing. So I've been doing that a little bit. I like to make homemade pizzas. It's
always a good thing.
Yeah, I do chilies, and I'm also one of my favorite things to have in the morning is having bone broth. So I make my own bone broth too.
Nice.
Yeah.
That all sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, like you mentioned, global pandemic, it's pretty crappy, right? 9 months into this, but you're known to be a bit of a world traveler. You went to Italy a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
How was that experience, and what kind of food did you eat there? I'm assuming a lot of Italian.
Well, I'll tell you, man, Italy. It was a great experience. I've been there. That was my last trip was my third time there, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went back. I went in 2009, way back in 2009, the first time, and then I went back in 2010. That was an experience that was awful.
Oh no, let's not talk about that then.
It was awful, but it was also rewarding, because I actually went to see how they play hockey in Europe. But,
okay.
Yeah. And then I went back in 2018, and the food is just unbelievable. Everything you think that you've eaten that's been great over here, times that by about 1,000 over there. A basic bowl of pasta, spaghetti over there is gourmet compared to what we have.
It doesn't even compare, right?
It doesn't even compare. I've been on this, one time I was there, I had a awesome bowl of pasta carbonara.
Yeah.
And I've been on the hunt to find something close to that. And I haven't.
It's nothing's quite like good old homemade Italian pasta.
Everything, even in the restaurants, everything there feels like it's homemade. No word of a lie.
It probably is. It probably is. They know how to.
There's some nonna grandmother back there just cooking it up, and the owner of the restaurant's passing it off like he cooked it, but he's getting it from his grandmother.
Guaranteed. Nonna and Nonna are just in the back.
Yeah, they're in the back.
just cooking it up. Obviously, what's next? What's your next destination that you really want to visit?
I've been all over the place. There's some places I want to go back to. I went to New Orleans in 2018, the same year that I went to Italy the last time too. So I loved New Orleans, and I loved the food down there. So I want to go back to New Orleans. I want to go back to Las Vegas.
Me too. I've never been. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah, I want to go back to Las Vegas. There's no clocks in the hotel room, by the way, so you have to request.
Seriously?
You have to request a clock. Right?
Is that true?
That's so true. Because they expect you to be down in the casino gambling all night.
So Vegas, some of that'd be pretty cool.
Yep.
What about Australia? I know you went there.
Australia,
PowerHockey
yes.
Canada.
How could I forget Australia?
Tell me about that experience at PowerHockey Canada.
That was one of the most fulfilling, rewarding parts of my career. Like, I never thought I'd ever be wearing Team Canada colors and hearing my national anthem being played. So right there, that was worth the 21-hour flight, and being able to play that style of hockey was just so much fun. You know, we fielded 2 teams down there, and Canada came in 3rd and 4th in that tournament, so that was really nice. My team was the 4th place team, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. Like, you know, it was so fulfilling and so rewarding, and being able to bond with all the players that went there. I think that was the best tournament team I've ever been on, and I've been on quite a few.
That's awesome, and I'm sure there's nothing like wearing that Canadian sweater either.
Oh, I mean, look, I'm still wearing this hat, man. Like, I love it so much.
I see. That's awesome. Obviously, that tournament I feel like was a big step for PowerHockey Canada, just sort of expanding the game and having other competition across the world. So, what do you think the future of PowerHockey looks like?
The future of power hockey looks like, if it stays on the trajectory that it is, with especially PowerHockey Canada building the relationships it is around the world, I do see it hitting the Paralympics. It's going to get too big for the Paralympic committee to say this is not a sport anymore. They're going to recognize it as a legit sport.
I think that's what we all hope for, honestly, to get that.
It's just a matter of time.
I agree. And I think the good thing is now we're starting to make some strides. And once we get that Paralympic recognition, I think more funding is going to start getting poured into the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the right people installed in the right places to get this done.
Agreed. Well, Kirk, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. But before I let you go, we like doing a little fun segment here at Inside the Crease called the 6-shot shootout.
Now it's time for the 6-shot shootout. It's 6 rapid-fire questions coming at you, so get ready.
So I'm going to hit you with 6 rapid-fire questions, and I need your best answer. All right. I need you to choose.
Shoot.
All right. Okay, Superman or Batman?
Batman.
Comedy or horror movies?
Comedy.
Breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
No, I think this last one's going to be easy, but a safari adventure or a Mediterranean cruise?
Mediterranean cruise.
I knew it. I knew you liked that Italy, Spain, France, all that.
Cruising too. There's nothing like it.
Agreed. I've been on a few myself, and I definitely love it.
It's amazing. Like, you know, you always have a place to stay, and you get to see all these little, places in the world that you never would have been able to touch. Sometimes because of being in a chair, you wouldn't have been able to touch it.
It's true. Well, Kirk, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. Hopefully when this pandemic's over, we can catch up in person, play a little hockey, and maybe go on.
You and I still have a championship to win, so yeah, it's going to happen.
We do. We have to.
We have a championship to win. You know, exactly. that was robbed from us from the pandemic.
It's true. It really was. You're close, but we're going to get
there. We're going to get it.
Kirk, appreciate it. You're the man. Thank you so much. And,
absolutely, buddy. You take it easy.
Talk soon.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us on Inside the Crease, the podcast dedicated to the power hockey community. If you enjoyed today's show, please like, subscribe, and tell a friend. Visit our website at InsideTheCrease.com and follow us on social media at Inside Crease.